Hey everyone, it's Kieran with Yes Please PaperCrafts, and in this video I'm going to be sharing a project that I have been working on over the past 6 months off and on. And this project started when I created a video for my channel on tearing down paper pads, where I talked about different paper pads and why you would want to store them together as a paper pad, or why you might want to tear down the paper pad and take all of those papers and store them separately in different places in your craft room. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I will put a link to that video in the description below. Well, while I was making that video, I decided that I would try to take one of my paper pads and just use it up and make as many base pages as I could. And so I didn't realize how long that would take, or how difficult it would be. So it was kind of hard. I think it was really easy at first. I made a ton of base pages, but when I got down to the end and I was left with scraps, it got harder and harder and harder to try to use up the entire paper pad. And so I have been picking it up and working on it a little bit and setting it aside, and not really sure what to do with it, because I really wanted to just use the entire paper pad up. And so I was kind of having a little bit of a struggle getting those scraps used up. And yesterday I finally had this idea of how I could use up all the scraps. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this video is share with you all of the base pages and the cards that I made. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do with all the scraps, and show y'all a couple of different embellishments that you can create with the different scraps from just that you have left over from a project. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off by talking about base pages. And base pages is something that I actually learned about on RTS Scrapbooking channel with Janet. And so she does have a YouTube channel where she has some videos on creating base pages. And I'll put links to her YouTube channel and to the base pages videos in the description below. Janet has since moved over to Patreon, and you can actually join her Patreon for $1 a month, and it is well worth the dollar because she puts out tons of content, tons of videos. Okay, so the first base page that I have is this one here. And what a base page is, it's just nothing more than the foundation for a scrapbook layout, so the base. And one of the things I love about the idea of creating base pages is it allows you to be creative and to just play with your paper without having to worry about photos and journaling and titles and all of the different things that kind of sometimes get you stuck when you're creating a scrapbook layout. And a lot of times it stresses me out. I want to create scrapbook layouts. I love scrapbooking. But sometimes, if you're having difficulty getting your photos on there, or figuring out which photos to use, or trying to come up with a title, that can make it a little bit more of a challenge to just create a layout. And so I love the idea of creating base pages because it allows you to just play with paper and be creative without having to worry too much about all of those things. And so you might be wondering, what do you do with these base pages once you have them finished? And so what I'm planning to do is to put all of my base pages either in an album or in a flip storage bin, where I can just go through them whenever I want to do a quick scrapbook layout. I can get some photos and then go through my base pages and look through them all and try to see if I can find one that would work, and then I can use that as a starter for my scrapbook layout. I think another really good use for base pages might be if you wanted to gift somebody an album. You could create base pages, leave places for them to put their own pictures, and create an album that way and use it as a gift. And that's one of the other things I've thought about doing. Now, if I do that, I'll probably would put a little bit more embellishing in it, and I might also stick to traditional or standard photo sizes like 4x6 or 3x4 photos. And so as you're looking at this first base page, you might be wondering what I would do with this huge map that I have here. So that would be a pretty big picture. And so my thoughts on this was I could use it a lot of different ways. I could actually create a picture this size and put it here. I could also create several smaller pictures and turn this into a grid. and use multiple pictures on this layout. And I think this would be super fun to do as a grid. So that was kind of my thought. So looking at this, I could quickly print out maybe 4 or 6 smaller pictures, throw a title up here, add a couple of embellishments, and I'll be done. So I think that creating base pages is really a lot of fun, not only to do it when you're actually creating them, but also would be fun later when you're wanting to do a quick layout. Okay, so I managed to create 20 base pages, 2 of which are not completed because I ran into a problem where I didn't have enough paper, the paper was too short, and I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to cover it up. And I used only the paper from the paper pad, and I don't remember, did I talk any about the what paper I used? Let me go ahead and do that. And if I did already talk about it, I'll just cut this part out of the video. Okay, so I've done a couple of different takes of trying to talk about this and get started, and I can't remember if I talked about this or not. Okay, so the paper that I'm using for this project is from Park Lane. It's called the Bloom de Fleur, and it has 34 sheets of printed cardstock with specialty paper, and it's a collection pad. So if you're looking at Joann's, not all of the Park Lane paper pads have the different specialty papers, but usually the ones that are collection pads or specialty pads will have things like foil, vellum, craft paper, acetate, and wood. And so I thought this was a really good paper pad to use to create base pages because it had all the specialty paper, but it also had some solid color cardstock in here as well. Now I did add an additional 4 or 5 sheets of cardstock. Might have been maybe 6 sheets of cardstock. I can't remember. I did add some cardstock in just to help me with backgrounds and things. But so other than that, I didn't pull in anything else from my craft room other than some washi tape and a couple punches, I think. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the different base pages that I have created here. So this is the first one here, and I did use one of the cut-aparts that was included in the paper pad. It also had specialty paper, so this is one of the gold foil papers, and I thought that made a really pretty mat behind that cut-apart. Okay, so the next one that I have here, this one actually has a place where you could do journaling. It has 2 mats, so I can put 2 photos here. And then I can put my title up here at the top. And I thought that was really pretty. Now I did use a punch. I also used some washi tape and several border punches as well as a punch to punch out some little flowers. And so I did add a couple of embellishments to this layout or this base page and also some enamel dots. Okay, the next one I have here is this one here, and this one's more simple. I don't have any embellishing or it's just like layered paper. And one of the things that I was doing to try to preserve some of the paper, this is a gold foil paper, which is really pretty. So I gutted that paper, cut out the middle of it, and then I was able to use it on my next layout. So one of the other things that's really cool about creating base pages is that you kind of can get an assembly line going and just cut up all your papers, and it makes it a little bit easier. Anything you can do in an assembly line, it usually goes quicker. So you can see here that I gutted the inside of this paper, and then on this next paper or this next base page, I used that paper that I cut out for the next page. Okay, so here's another one that I created. This is another base page, and this one is a very simple base page. Okay, the next one here just has 2 strips of paper, and then I used a vellum overlay. This was a vellum paper that was included in this paper pad, and then some washi tape, and then just used one of the cut-aparts to create this page. And one of the things that I wanted to mention also was, even though I have this cut-apart here, I don't have to leave it here. If I decide to use this base page and do a different design, I just really put very small amounts of adhesive, and so I can actually pull that off. And I don't have to leave that there. So that's one of the things to think about when you're creating base pages, is you could use some removable adhesive, or just make sure you don't use very much adhesive so that you're able to take pieces off, and so that you can also tuck things behind it if you want to, or you can take it completely off if you want to change that later. And this is another one where I gutted the paper. So I did gut this paper, and you can see it here actually on this layout. Here is the floral paper that I gutted from this paper, which I used for a mat to go behind that base page. So you can see how it works when you're working with the different papers. As you're cutting them apart, you can use them in different ways on the next layout, or the next base page. I keep saying layout. It is kind of a layout. It's the start of a layout, but it's really just a base page because it's not a completed layout. Okay, so for this one, I have another one where I just put 2 different papers and then used a border strip with a punch that I have. I used one of the cut aparts and just rounded the corners, and I matted it. And then these are 2 places where I would put photos, and I probably would mat my photos with some off-white cardstock, and then just put them here, 2 photos here like that. Okay, and the base pages that I created are fairly simple. I didn't really, worry too much about the design. I just started playing with the paper and laying it out, and if I thought it looked cool, then I just went with it. So here's another one where I did a little bit of embellishment. I have 2 different, I have a place here for a photo, and then here is another one of the cut aparts. And then I added a little, couple little flowers, some pearls, and then also a little butterfly. And then this one I also did put some washi tape down here. And so that's that base page. Okay, here's another one. This one is another one where I used a cut apart, and then a border, and then just 2 different papers. And then there's a place to mat a photo, and then if I wanted to, you could actually just take this cut apart off of here and put 2 photos. And so I think that you don't really have to be, stick with what you do when you create a base page. You can change it later. And I definitely recommend using removable adhesive if you think that's something that you're going to do. Okay, the next one that I have here, I just played around with scrap pieces that I had. I had a couple of more pieces of this vellum paper. I just thought it was really pretty. And another one of the cut aparts. And so I just created that base page. Okay, here's another one where it's just a piece of cardstock and then 1 piece of floral paper. The border strip, I think that border punch is so pretty. That's from Creative Memories. And then another one of the cut aparts and some little flowers. Okay, this next one is using some of the craft paper that came with the paper pad. The craft paper wasn't my favorite, and I kind of struggled a little bit with using this because I find that this craft paper that has the, the floral pattern, it looks a little dull to me, but I did finally manage to figure out a way to use it. So I added the little butterfly and then this border with some of the metallic full paper that was in the paper pad. Okay, up next is the piece of acetate paper that they had included. And one of the things I did to make this a little bit more interesting was that I started with a piece of white cardstock, then I added this pink cardstock on half of it. And then it's this, this part right here is actually an acetate overlay. And I was having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out something to do with that. And this one, I probably would add something here maybe. And then I have this doily that I created with one of my Creative Memories punches. And I think this would be really pretty. You could either put this way or you could turn it sideways. So you don't actually have to use it in one way. You can try to figure out different ways that you could actually use this. I think this would be really pretty to put a photo here and then maybe your title down here. And I love you know, the kind of shininess. It's a different texture than you normally would expect to see on a layout. And I didn't adhere this completely down. It's just adhered underneath where this dolly is. Okay, so the last ones that I have here are all double page base pages. And what I did here was I just created some really simple base pages that I can create double page spreads. And you can actually do this different ways. So I have it, you could do it this way. You could also turn it around and put the green in the middle. And so there's a lot of different ways you could actually use this as well. You could turn it around and do this. So these pages can be used as a double page spread, but you don't actually have to use them in any particular direction. There's still a lot of you know, variety that you could get from using these two pages to create your double page spread. And this one I just created using some borders and some washi tape, border punch. Okay, the next one here is another one that I created with just a couple sheets of paper. And this one would also create a double page spread. I really think that this is pretty. And I love this floral print. And then I just use a simple border punch. Or you could do something like this. So there's a lot of different ways that you could use up these base pages once you have them completed. Okay, so the last double page base pages that I have is this one here. Now, I had tons and tons and tons of little scraps. And so I decided that I would do this technique where you take your scraps and you just adhere them down to a piece of cardstock and in strips. And so I did that. And what I was using to do that was I actually used the, in the paper pad at the top, there's this strip of paper with a hole. And so I had a whole bunch of these little strips of paper left over. And so that's actually what I used to create this, paper here. And then I cut it in half and I eliminated the hole. So that's how I ended up getting these two papers, and then I just adhere these down onto a background and added a border and some washi tape, and I just think that's gorgeous. I just love, this is one of my favorite ones that I actually did, and you can turn this in any direction, and I just think it's so pretty. So just super pretty effect. And not only did I use just strips of paper, I also used leftover pieces of border that I punched out with a border punch. You can see here these right here. And so I think that really adds to it as well. Okay, so my last base page here is the one that I kind of got stuck on because I had this really dark kind of purple paper left over, and I didn't really have anything to go with it. And I didn't have enough paper. Somehow or another, I cut this wrong, and I ended up with this ugly paper showing through. So sometimes what I do when I'm trying to create a layout is I will take a piece of paper in my craft room that is older, that's maybe something I wouldn't use, and I'll just use it as a base to glue down other papers to create a background. And so that's what you're seeing here is ugly paper. So my plan to finish this base page is to use one of my border punches and try to cover this seam up on both sides, and I will make another double page base pages to use. Okay, so that's all of the base pages that I have, and I was able to create 20 different base pages out of this one paper pad. Now, the other thing that I created was 12 cards. These are all A2 size cards. I think there's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the card bases, I just used some card bases that I already had. I used some of the scraps that were left over, and on this one I added just a fabric flower that I had. I just thought was pretty, and then I used one of the cut-aparts that says "Have a nice day." On the next card, I used one of the cut-aparts. And then one of the things that I did on the cards was I used some, what is it called? Stickles, which is the glitter glue from Ranger. And I just created little places where it has sparkly bits. and it just really makes this more special as a card, and it really dresses it up a lot. So I love using stickles and the Nuvo drops to make things look a little bit more special when they're just a printed card like that. Okay, here's another one. This one says thank you. This was another one of the cut aparts. And this is the reason why I ended up creating cards from this, was because this was definitely something that would go really well with a card, but I couldn't see how to use it as a scrapbook layout. So it just says thank you. And so I thought that would make a really pretty thank you card. And again, I used these stickles to kind of dress up the flowers. Added stickles to all of the flowers. It just makes it really sparkle. Okay, this next one says love, and this was another cut apart, and I added some washi tape, and then this little flower, and again, more stickles. I just kind of went crazy with the stickles. I just think that looks so pretty. Okay, next one is this one, which is just layered pieces, and I used some washi tape, another one of the cut aparts, and a border strip that was left over, and just created this card, and also used some of that vellum paper that was left over as well. Okay, this next one is says for you, and one of the things that I did for this one, because this for you was pretty large, I decided to take one of the clear stickles and I just drew over the words, the letters, and made all the letters sparkly. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. Okay, and then this one is another one of the cut aparts, but I decided to just do some fussy cutting, and I cut around it and then just added that to the card. And I have another little butterfly over here and more stickles. Okay, and then this one here is another one of the cut aparts. I haven't added any pearls, but I was going to show y'all. It's really easy to do this. I was going to go ahead and decorate this card and just kind of show you what I would do. I have some of these jewels, so I could use the jewels or I could use the pearls. And for some reason with this paper pad, when I look at it, I really like the idea of using the pearls, but you can use the other ones as well. And so I would just go here and look through my little pearls here. And I think it's so much fun to dress up the butterflies and put some of these little pearls in there. And we're just going to add 3 pearls into the middle. And I hope I get the adhesive to come up with it, because sometimes it doesn't. Nope, I didn't. That's the only bad thing about these. They are adhesive, but I struggle a lot of times, and I've tried using the different tools to try to do it too, but okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in 3 of these little gem pearls, and sometimes it's kind of hard to get the adhesive to come off with the actual pearl. See if I can manage to get this off of here. Okay, I kind of struggled a little bit with getting that on there. So, all right. So we're going to just add that on there. I could actually add more pearls, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and use some stickles and just add some sparkle as well. So let me go ahead and grab my stickles here. I keep my stickles in this slim project case. This is an Iris project case. It's also sold by Michaels under the Recollection brand. And I created a divider here, and if y'all are interested in learning how to create this divider to store your Nuvo drops or stickles in one of these project cases, I have a video on my channel, so I'll put a link to that video in the description below if you're interested in finding out more about how to create the divider. But I'm just going to pick out maybe one of these clear stickles up here. Let's try the Stardust, and then maybe I'll also use this one here. Maybe a pink one would be better. I could use the spun sugar or the cotton candy. Let's use the cotton candy. So we'll use these 2. And just going to go ahead and add some sparkle here. And I usually like to use 2 or 3 different colors just to kind of give it a little bit more sparkle. But we're going to, and more variation in the color. I think I'm going to add the white maybe to these little, this little flower here. But this is actually clear. And I'm just going to make little dots because the flower actually has little dots. So I'm just going to kind of make little dots for that flower. And there's another one of those flowers over here by the butterfly. So I'm just going to lift the butterfly wing up a little bit and go over and add some over here as well. Probably would have been better to do that before I added the butterfly, but it'll still work. Okay, for these little kind of off-white flowers with the pink center, I'll just go ahead and just enhance that by adding some more pink to each one of these flowers. And I'm just going to add one little dot. Doesn't want to... Okay, usually it doesn't give me that much trouble. And I got an air bubble. And so sometimes one of the things that it's better to do when you're using these stickles is to actually put a little bit of it on a piece of scrap paper before you start, and you can also try to shake it to make sure that you don't, all the glue is coming down, because you can get air bubbles when you're working with it. Okay, so let's see. I think I'll put some pink into the center of this one here, and I'll make a much bigger center for that one. And then let's use some of the clear on this little flower here, and then also this one, and then I'll just put some of these little ones here as well. Just kind of just, you can just put it wherever you want. You don't have to put it in the center of the flowers. That's just what I like to do. And then you can actually draw with this. You can make a border around things. I just don't have a very steady hand sometimes, so I don't like to do that sometimes if I'm just working on a finished project. But if I'm playing around and I'm working on something and it's going to be like the start of a project, and if I mess up, it's not going to be too bad, then sometimes I'll try to be more adventurous with my stickles. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do to this card, but look how much more sparkly it is. Now, it does take a while for this to dry. I usually let it dry overnight, and I just think it's so pretty. But look how much more it added to this card to make it more special. Okay, I think I missed a couple here too, didn't I? Let me just add a couple more right here. These little flowers down here need something. Okay, so that's one way that you can use to kind of dress up your greeting cards. And I just love doing that. Okay, so we have that one. Here's another one. I haven't added the stickles to this one either, but I probably will add some stickles. I was trying to think if I wanted to maybe add some jewels to some of the flowers, and then maybe try to use the stickles to kind of dress up the word thank you. And so I might try to do that. Not sure. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one yet, so I haven't added the stickles to it, but I probably will one day before I mail it out to somebody. Now, I did make 12 cards, but I've used 3 of them, so I only have the 9 here to show you. But wasn't that crazy and incredible that I could make 20 scrapbook layouts and 12 cards with one piece, or one paper pad that only had 34 sheets of paper, and I still have all of the scrap papers left over. Okay, so one of the things that I was kind of stuck with is I had some of these project cards that were left over, and I've already used this project card. It's not really a project card, it's a cut apart card. It was a 4x6 card. I've already used this on one of my base pages, and I really didn't want another base page that said never stop looking up. And I couldn't really figure out another good way to use this. And so I thought, well, what can I do with this? And so I decided to make a little pocket out of it. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because I think this is pretty cool. If you have some project-like cards that you don't use, they're double-sided, and you don't know what to do with them, you can, or cut-aparts, the project-like cards are cut-aparts, you can just fold it over, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue this. I wanted to show you that this was a card that I had here, but you just basically are just going to glue the sides of it. And I left my glue open there for a long time, so I'm just going to use the pen to get it started again. This glue does not really clog, but every once in a while I do have a trouble getting it going if I'll leave it open on my desk for a really long time. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put some glue on the side here and then just put that together like that. And wait for that to dry just a little bit. Oops, glue seeping out. Now, one of the other things that you can do with your leftovers, besides making little pockets, is you can make tags. And so I created this tag here, and so I made the tag so that it would fit inside this pocket. But now that I've added my glue, I might have to make my tag just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in here and just kind of trim off a little bit more of my tag, just to make it small enough to fit into my pocket. Okay, so you can see here now I have my pocket created and I have my tag in here. And one of the things that you can do to kind of dress up your tag is to add a hole reinforcer. And I do have a punch that does that, but I wanted to show y'all another way that you can do this. And so what this punch does is it just creates a little hole reinforcer that you can add to your project. And let's see, I think it's this one here. It just creates this right here. That's what the punch does. So if you don't have this punch, but you do have some hole punches or some circle punches, you can use your hole punch, which is this size here, the same hole punch that you use to make the hole in your tag, and then just use a circle punch, like if you have a 1/2-inch circle punch, and you can actually make your own hole reinforcer. And I wanted to kind of share with you how you can do that. So let's go ahead and grab a piece of the scrap paper here, and we're just going to take this scrap paper and I'm going to punch a hole with this hole punch right there in the middle. And then I'm going to take this circle punch, turn it upside down so I can see underneath. And maybe I should do it this way. You might be able to see it better. Let's see. And I'm just going to line this up until it gets into the center. Like that. And then I'm going to punch. And that will create the hole reinforcer for your tag. And then you can just go ahead and glue that on. Now sometimes it might not be perfect, which is why it's nice to have the hole reinforcer punch. But if you don't have one of those, it's pretty easy to create one of these just using your hole punch and a circle punch. And it does dress up your tag a little bit. You can see I actually put one on this side as well. It just makes the tag look a little bit more special. And then I can go ahead and what I'm planning to do is make a bunch of embellishments using my leftover scraps and putting it together with my base pages so that when I go to work on my base pages to turn them into layouts, I have a whole bunch of embellishments to use. And it wasn't until yesterday that it dawned on me what I could actually use these scraps for. So now I'm super excited about getting creative with using up the rest of these scraps. So let me show you a couple other ideas I have. One of the other things that I thought I could do was to use some dies. So I'm going to get out some dies and possibly some punches. I have a couple of bow dies here. And what I did was I just created some little die cuts using those bow dies with my, die cutting machine. And so I created this bow. So here's another embellishment I have that I can use with my base pages. And then here is a bow that I can use. And then I could also dress this bow up and add a pearl, and that will tie it into other things that I've done. And I'll just add a pearl onto this bow, and that's going to make it so cute. Look at that, how adorable that bow is. So now I have more embellishments to go with my base pages. Okay, so let me see, what else did I want to share with you guys? So here are, let me go ahead and show you all the scraps that I have left over. And so this is pretty much everything that I have here. And I'm planning to make some tags, make some more pockets. I'll make some tags. And oh, here, this was the one I was going to show y'all. So this is another one of the cut aparts that was in there that I didn't do anything with. And I thought I could use this to make another pocket. And I could either make a pocket with this side and just make it like that, or I could possibly make a pocket with this side. And I'm thinking maybe I might do that. And so to make the pocket, all I did was just fold this in half. And then we're just going to crease that down. And you could use your bone folder or your scoring tool. See if I can do a little bit better job with this. I probably should have used I'm not very good at cutting things straight or folding these straight, but I think I did pretty good with that. Okay, so one of the things that you could do if you wanted to make this pocket a little bit more, you know, even when you're making your tag to put in here, because the adhesive does take up some of the space over on this side. And so you could actually use some washi tape to close this, the bottom and the side here as well, or you could just glue this together. The other thing I was thinking about using this for would be to create little folders. And so you could make this into like a little folder that you could adhere to your project, and maybe use a paper clip to keep it closed. Put your journaling in there. There's lots of things that you could probably do with these cut aparts that are 4x6 size. And even create like a little tab to put on the top, and maybe put some words here that say, you know, what's inside this little folder. So that's something else you could do. And I think that would be kind of cute. And maybe that's what I'll do with this second 4x6 card. I might use this as a folder on a project. So I might just leave it like that, just fold it in half. And so that'll be something else that I can use on a layout, and I'll just maybe bring in a paper clip or something to use to kind of keep it together when I adhere it to my project. Okay, so then I have a whole bunch of different scraps here, and so my plans for this is I'm probably going to take all of these little strips and use them. I could use them for the hole reinforcers. I could also use them to possibly make more border strips to just tuck into places. I could use them as tabs or labels. And so yeah, that's what I'm planning to do with all of these different strips. So I'm going to go through and just make a whole bunch of different embellishments, and then put it with these base pages so that when I want to create a layout, I have a whole bunch of embellishments I can use with my base pages. Okay, let me think if there was anything else. Oh yeah, I wanted to share with y'all one more thing. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to do in a video is to actually make some base pages. And since I didn't do that, and I didn't actually film any of that, I can't really show you how I went about making the base pages. But I have this other paper pad, and my sister gave me this last year at Christmas. And so this paper pad is from Craftsmart. It's from Michael's. It's one of the hot buy paper pads that they have over there. It's called Floral Romance. And so I thought this would be a really good one to create to use for base pages. So I'm planning to tear this paper pad down and use it to build some base pages. And so you're going to see in 2021 me using this paper pad to make base pages. And I'll just do a quick flip through so you can kind of see some of the paper that's in here. So there's a paper with the doilies. There's also this paper with the flowers and butterflies. One of the reasons why I picked this particular paper pad was I thought the paper all went really well together. There was some paper that could be used as backgrounds, like this tone-on-tone blue paper. And there was also a lot of floral papers, and then there was some cut aparts. And so I thought this would be super pretty to turn into base pages. There's also some gold foiling on this paper, which is really pretty. Here's another tone-on-tone green paper. And then there's this floral paper here. And there's 2 sheets of each paper. I just thought it was a really good mix of different types of paper. And here's a paper with that I can use for border strips. This is really awesome. Okay, and they have 2 of those, and then there is this gold paper. It's like a charcoal black or a black background. And then there's this one, which would make a perfect background. Okay, another floral, and then we have another tone-on-tone paper. Here's this one with the gold butterflies. I thought I could maybe do some fussy cutting and cut out some of the gold butterflies. There's another, this is a blue paper. It's a tone-on-tone. And here's a cut-apart. I love this cut-apart, and I think there's a lot that you can do with this. There's even some tags up here. So I think this is going to make some really good embellishments for my base pages. Okay, here's some more doilies, and then it repeats. So I think there's going to be a lot that I can use from here to make some scrapbook layouts. That's gorgeous. I don't know that it repeated. It just looked like the paper was very similar. I don't think it repeated. I thought it was repeating, but it's not. This is just the same paper in a different color, I believe. This is a blue, and then this is kind of like a dusty pink color. And so there's another floral. So I think it's the same patterns, but with different colors. And then here's a green paper, and then another gold, green. So I love this. This is gorgeous. I need to figure out a way that I can make this into a base page. I'm going to have to figure that out. I think that I could probably do it. It might be a little bit of a challenge. I think you could also use it to mat a layout so that all you would see would be part of this paper around the edge. I think that'd be really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to be making some more base pages, and I'm going to film that and make it into videos and post it on my channel. So y'all look for that next year in 2021. I'm also going to be creating some more organization videos, and I will be doing some scrapbook process videos. So I have a lot of ideas for videos to make in 2021. And I'm really hoping that I can get more accomplished. This past year, 2020, has been a really strange year, and it was very difficult to get motivated to create videos and actually do scrapbooking and just get my organization projects done. And so I'm just trying to look forward to next year and just maybe try to do more videos to try to motivate myself to get more projects done. And so I have a lot of things that I'm wanting to work on. So hopefully I'll get some more videos up on my channel in 2021. Okay, so I have a short video clip of my 2 dogs, Bella and LilyBelle, at the end of this video if y'all want to stick around for that. And then that's all I have. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a like. If you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as a subscriber. And that's all I have. Y'all have an awesome day. Hope to see you next time. Bye now. Hey girls, what y'all doing? Bella's trying to hide. I can still see you, Miss Bella. I can still see you. I can still see you. What you doing? Where are you going? Hey, Miss Bella. Bella got medicine in her ear. And then she was putting her foot in her ear and then putting her foot in her mouth. So now she has to wear the cone. What are you doing? Hi, sweetie. What you doing? Would you like a treat? I can give you a treat. Let's go get you a treat, okay? Okay, let's get your Christmas treat. You want a Christmas treat? So we have a couple more days left for our Christmas treats. Yep, today is the 23rd. Can you find the 23rd, Miss Bella? Did you find it? Did you find it? You need some help? Miss Bella, can you find the 23rd? No? Okay. LilyBelle, you want to come have your treat? Are you going to come over here? Come over here and have your treat. Come see. Come here. All right, let's see what's in the 23. It's this one right there with the reindeer head. Whee! Woo! I have to cut it in half. There's only one. Okay, hold on. I'm going to break it in half. Okay, now come over here. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Hey, leave it. Leave it. Okay. Can you get it? I don't think she can get it. Let me help you. Did you get it? Oh, she got it. Nothing's gonna stop Miss Bella from getting her treat. Are you gonna look for some more? That's all that they had in there. Push it around. Yep, that's the only one they had in there. I'll give you another one later, okay? It's kind of early to be having treats. We just got back from the vets. Yep. You got anything to say? That stuff stinks, doesn't it? It smells funny. That stuff smells funny. I know. It'll make your ears feel better, Miss Bella. It'll make you feel better. Yeah. Yeah, you'll feel better soon. Would you like to say anything to the YouTube people? How about you, Miss LilyBelle? You want to say anything? Can you say Merry Christmas? Nope. Well, I wish you guys all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope to see you next time. Bye now.